Szanowni Państwo, witamy serdecznie na
Ladies and
konferencji
gentlemen,
Ministerstwa
I would
Rozwoju i
like to
Technologii.
welcome you to the
Za chwilę
conference
nastąpi
in the
podpisanie
Ministry of
porozumień pomiędzy
Technology and
Europejską
Development,
Agencją
and
Kosmiczną
in a
a
moment we
Polską
will be
Uprzejmie
signing
zapraszam
the agreement
do podpisania
between
porozumień
European
dyrektora
Space
generalnego
Agency
Józefa
and
Aschbachera i
Polish
ministra
government.
rozwoju i technologii
And I would like to
Waldemara.
ask Mr. Josef Aschbacher, the Director of ESA and Minister of Development, Waldemar Buda.
Szanowni Państwo, teraz nastąpi
Ladies and
3-minutowa
gentlemen,
przerwa
and
techniczna,
now we will have a technical break, a
po
3-minute
której będą mogli
break,
Państwo
and
zapoznać się
afterwards
ze szczegółami
you will
podpisanych
be able
porozumień
to learn
pomiędzy
about the
Europejską
details of the
Agencją
agreements
Kosmiczną
that were
i Ministerstwem
signed
Rozwoju i
by the
Technologii.
European Space Agency and the Ministry of Development and Technology. Josef
Agencji
Aschbacher
Kosmicznej
to
i ministra rozwoju i
the
technologii Waldemara Budę.
to the PAP and Minister Waldemar Buda.
Uprzejmie proszę o zabranie głosu
Now I give the floor to Director and Minister.
Generalnego Europejskiej Agencji Kosmicznej.
First, we'll start with Director of the European Space
Po wysłuchaniu
Agency.
najpierw filmu, najmocniej przepraszam.
First the film, and then the floor will be yours, Director.
Uprzejmie proszę o zabranie głosu dyrektora
And now I
generalnego.
give the floor to Director Josef
So
Aschbacher.
thank you very much, Minister Buda. Today is a great day for Poland. It's a day to celebrate, especially in the context of space, because we have just signed two agreements which bring Poland one level higher in space in Europe. And this is something that me as the because what you have been doing in preparing this agreement and today with the signature is very special. So really, thank you from my side, Poland. Thank you, Minister Buda. Thank you, Secretary of State, Mrs. Kroll. It's really a reason to celebrate because this is a very important moment for Poland, and very happy to be here in Warsaw today. So distinguished guests, I was here last year to celebrate Poland's 10th anniversary of the membership of the European Space Agency. And on that occasion, I recalled the many achievements of our cooperation of the past decade, but also I underlined the need to focus on the future. Global space investments are booming, with an increasing role played both by the private sector and the public sector and investors who are coming to invest in space. If we want to play a role as a space power, we need to follow suit. And Europe needs to invest strongly, especially in commercial growth areas. Our last ministerial conference in November last year resulted in a record budget of 16.9 billion euros, which includes 1.3 billion for commercialization. This is a 17% increase compared to the previous ministerial 3 years ago. And that has been a record and is an absolute novelty for Europe to invest that strongly in space. And why? Because it is recognized by politicians that space increasingly plays an important role for society at all levels. But this was only a first step. However, if we want to play the same league as the other space powers, by 2035, we need to aim for 1/3 of NASA's budget in 2025 at the next ministerial. I'm very pleased that Poland has clearly understood this message and has decided to take a very active role in space. The recently announced flight opportunity between ESA and Poland, in cooperation with Axiom, will see the next Polish national going to space, nearly half a century after the flight of Mirosław Hermaszewski. Commercial missions are part of the future of low Earth orbit, and this agreement helps us to take part in this new environment, very relevant for the future of Europe in space exploration. The astronaut mission, along with new investments announced by Poland in the European Space Agency, mean that Poland is positioning itself as a space nation and a key partner in the space sector, both in Europe and globally. The two agreements, which we have just signed, are meant to prepare the growing Polish space industry for this future. We have signed an agreement to strengthen space competencies and capabilities in Poland. This should help the Polish space industry to further specialize in different space domains and develop new business cases, allowing it to participate in more of ESA's optional programs and improve competitiveness in the coming years. The second agreement is about talents, and you need to start with the young people. With this agreement, ESA will host 30 Polish national trainees in our ESA establishments in the coming years. And some of the trainees will work on the experiments conducted by future astronauts on the International Space Station. So really wanted to very warmly thank Minister Buda for having put your trust in ESA to help grow your space sector in Poland and your space capabilities. And I look forward to many, many years of very good cooperation with Poland, especially now one level higher up in the space ladder, in the space community. Thank you, Minister Buda. Thank you very much.
Panie dyrektorze,
Director,
szanowni państwo,
Minister, ladies and gentlemen, this is a historical moment, a series of events that happened in the recent weeks led us to this position, to the place in which we dreamed to be once. And we wanted to be part of this development. We wanted to be leaders, or we wanted to be part of what is happening in space. And today, 3 agreements that we signed. So, first of all, the mission of our astronaut, Polish, and as the director has said, everything still has to be completed. So we have a candidate, he needs to go through tests, but today we also signed 2 other important agreements which are important from our point of view. So we wanted the space industry that is functioning so well in Poland already. We have 400 enterprises, and so they are startups now. And with the help of the agreement of ESA, we want them to be more dynamic, to reach a higher level and create the highest technologies.
Today, with the director, we signed 2 important agreements which pertain to graduates and training at the ESA, as well as technological support for Polish companies. It's extremely important for these companies to receive support, to have a chance to cooperate with ESA, so that all they do is coordinated and becomes a part of a larger project. We can say the European ambitions in the outer space. The year 1978, we had to wait 46 years for this second step for a Polish astronaut to go to the outer space. Many years ago, there were such plans, but this was like science fiction movies. But today we can say that with the involvement of all, and I would like to thank the director, I'd like to thank our partners from Axio or from NASA, the blocks finally fit together, and we already almost have the success in our hands. We have the assurance that Poland will be a part of this mission, a Polish national. And you know, ladies and gentlemen, that in Poland a prestigious thing must happen for many more things to be possible. We need to have Adam Małysz, the famous ski jumper, to have the explosion of interest in ski jumping. We needed Iga Świątek to make people interested in tennis. And now we have the Polish astronaut who will impact our emotions connected with the outer space, the space sector. I am convinced that this will be the starting point, thanks to which the whole sector will gain impact and involve many people in the discussions on what's going to happen, what the benefits will be, what technologies will be used. And we also need to see the practical dimension. Many elements of everyday life, from mobile phones through sat-nav to small things that we are using, like Velcros, for example. They were invented in outer space. Microgravity is a testing ground for many elements which are later being used in everyday life without us knowing. Commercialization of the inventions from the outer space has a great innovation potential and affects the whole economy. Every euro, every zloty invested in the outer space is multiplied in the economy, in cooperation, in the development of many sectors. Director, again, thank you very much indeed. I want to mention the role of the Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki, whose decision gave this chance for us to meet and sign the agreements, because also the financial participation was the result of the personal decision of the Prime Minister Morawiecki. Thank you very much for this. This is a milestone in history. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, now is the time for questions only on the topic of the conference. So the mic will be passed on in the room, so I can see there is a question. Good afternoon. A question to Minister Buda, Przemysław Isa, the Radio Information Agency. When are the internships for the Polish trainees at ESA going to start? And when is the Polish astronauts' flight into the outer space is possible? Can it be next year? Ladies and gentlemen, today we have the signed agreement that covers specific conditions. The first 10 trainees will be selected quite soon. In total, this is a 3-year program, and the 30 people that will participate. As regards the timeline for the astronaut, today our candidate will be preparing in Cologne, starting on the 4th of September. This is the first stage, but many more stages are to follow. There will be the US and Japan, and so on and so forth. The flight is to be in in the second half of 2024. This is not a distant date, and actually now there is a lot of preparation, of course, after the candidate is approved, because the decision is still upcoming. So NASA and the commercial partners have a big role in making this decision. So the internships, the trainees, the procedure is like beginning immediately, and the flight, the Polish astronaut, quite soon, next year, in the second half of next year. I have a question about Sławosz Uznański. Do you have options B and C if he doesn't pass the tests? This is about the astronaut. And a question to the director: how big a part of ESA what will be the Polish contribution to ESA? What area will Poland be specializing in? Ladies and gentlemen, we are considering different scenarios, but our candidate is a person who has amazing experience that is difficult to compare to other people that we could select. So we are hoping for a positive solution here. We don't want to have a plan B or C, contingency plan, because the career of Sławosz, the international career of Sławosz, we need to remember that he is on the reserve list at ESA, so he has some level level of advancement, and he was already in this race. He participated in the selection process and qualified as part of the group of like a dozen people. So I cannot imagine any other scenario, but we need to be pragmatic. However, Sławosz is our main candidate.
No, thank you. What does this mean for Poland? But maybe just to complement one word on what the minister just said about the selection of astronauts in ESA. This is a very tough selection. We got 22,500 candidates that have applied to become astronauts across all ESA member states. And out of these 22,500, I have selected, it was a long selection process, but the last stage I have the honor and the privilege to select the final set of candidates. There were 17 candidates or astronaut candidates that are being selected. Some of them are now in base training and some are in the reserve list. And in fact, Sławosz will start as a project astronaut his training on the 4th of September next week. So he's highly qualified, at least in the selection process, one among 22,500, just to give you the figure how tough the selection is. Your second question was, what does it mean for Poland, this subscription? I can say that with this additional subscriptions which Poland has now provided, it is more than doubling the original subscription of 197, which was given in November, the ESA Ministerial in Paris. So this is a significant step. And if it compares with other member states, Poland is really going one big step higher in the, let's say, ranking or in comparison with other ESA member states. Now Poland is close to the other, we would call it medium to larger size countries. Some others in this league are Switzerland, Spain, Belgium, who is very active in space, and Poland is really joining this group of family now, meaning that this is major, especially for a relatively young member state of ESA. Poland is now 10 years a member of ESA. That's a big step, and for us a very successful one, and I can only congratulate Poland and thank the Prime Minister for this decision and the Minister for this decision, because this is, I think, a very good investment into the future of Poland, the future of its people, because the space technologies that we are funding through this extra subscription are, of course, to support an astronaut mission, but also many other disciplines on the ground in agriculture, in forestry, in telecommunication, navigation, and many other domains where space is part of daily life.
Next question, please.
Robert i TVP Nauka, gratulacje panowie podpisania tych dwóch porozumień.
Nauka, congratulations gentlemen on signing the two agreements. Minister, Director, how many trainees are covered by the first agreement, and the support for the space sector, what will it pertain to in the second agreement? The target group here is 30 people for the trainee program. The first group, that's 10 people, and the whole program, this is a 3-year program. Regarding the technological support, advancement of our Polish companies, advancing the level of development, it's around 7 million euros that we are talking about today. This is what's included in the agreement today, but a much greater part is our participation in the so-called optional projects, much bigger participation, reaching even 200 million. And thanks to this participation, thanks to ensuring 80 or 90% of geographical content in some programs, this money will be returning to the Polish industry. This is a very significant amount invested to enable Polish companies to work on solutions that fit the programs of the ESA. So we are talking about a few components of our cooperation, but the biggest financial component is the participation in the optional program. This is connected with the bigger contribution, our contribution to ESA, and this returns to Poland, to Polish entrepreneurs. This will be included in the program and projects that are today conducted by the ESA. So we are working in many areas. To succeed, well, we need the prestige, we need the success of startups, so we need the success of advanced companies, advanced in space. And in all of these fields, we have our goals, and the challenges and the agreements that we have made pertain to all these fields, all these areas. Our actions are very comprehensive, not fragmented. It's not like a mission and great success. This success needs to result from the work, like basic work, the involvement of the whole sector, of academic centers, research centers, and we want to use this time very well, to use our involvement to the benefit of the Polish sector and also the European space sector.
And the next question, please. This is the Polish
collaboration between Polish government and the Polish companies in the next 5 or 10 years, and if a part of trainings, do you consider some Polish workers in ESA? Thank you.
No, this is really about Poland. So the money, as the minister was saying before, will be going back to Poland. We have a very clear regime in ESA that the subscriptions to ESA programs or optional programs are going back to industry or academic institutions in the country through a competitive process. So this is really going across the board. What I really like about this agreement and the subscriptions that Poland is now doing is that they are very wide, and they really cover a wide range of technical domains. There's a constellation on Earth observation that will be built up. There's telecommunication, there's navigation, there is technology, space safety, of course, support of astronautic experiments and research on human and robotic exploration. So it's really a whole range of different domains, which shows that there will be many opportunities for Polish industry, for Polish academia to really bid through ESA contracts to work on. But I would also like to invite Polish young and medium-aged and more senior people or experienced people to apply for jobs in ESA, because with these investments we of course are having a better chance and more involvement of Polish activities, and ESA is at the moment hiring new people. So please take this also as a message to look at our websites. We have this year about 350 posts that we are filling. Next year about the same number. So look at it. I'm looking for talented people from Poland to work on our projects.
Kolejne pytanie.
And this is the next question.
Kolejne pytanie można
Next question, please. There is someone who would like to ask this question.
Piotr Jaśkowiak, Tok FM Radio. On the slide behind you, we have seen new agreements between European Space Agency and Polish government and construction of micro-constellation for satellite observation of Earth, including 2 or 3 satellites. The question is how this constellation relates to the satellites that were ordered by the armed forces. And is it this constellation actually, and what will be the division of roles between Polish government and the European Space Agency? Ladies and gentlemen, this cooperation and construction of 2 objects or maybe 3 objects will be a civil in nature. It will be probably done in Pomerania, and it will be used by Polish Space Agency mostly, and the effects of this work will be available for research works or practical activities, also military, but this will be a commercial and civil cooperation. Of course, data processing, data using from the constellations, it will be widely used, the data will be widely used, and only creativity and new applications will be using the data that are collected by the micro-installations, satellite
satellite micro installations. So these are independent projects that were mentioned by you, but here we would like to have a full coordination, full cooperation if there is a potential for those installations to be used by militaries. For the safety, for security reasons, we are open to that. There is also an important part of your question. Please note what has recently happened also in connection with the Russian aggression against Ukraine, how the development of space research helps to conduct the war by Ukraine, how to act in the war by Ukraine. So there is a very advanced education, military education. Many problems that were happening in traditional technologies are now replaced and are used satellite solutions, especially in the communication aspect. So in the future, the development, the progress will be measured by progress in space investments. And the US, for many years, were basing in their development on the dynamics of the development of space research, space investments. So this will be happening in the future. Thank you very much. Are there any other questions? If there are no more questions, we would like to thank you for coming here, and we would like to invite you to the next events.